Hello everyone, welcome back to more Link's Awakening. Once again this is a video, this was requested by my patron Charmander. If you want to request a series of your own, you can check the video description down below for a link to the playlist, or to my Patreon. You can also find the playlist. Get caught up on any episodes you missed. But yeah, this is the DX version of Link's Awakening, to be specific. And I hope that you all will enjoy. So let's see, where do we need to go this time? Sorry, I had to stop and like take a breath there for a second. I'm trying to remember where we have to go. And I don't particularly remember at this point. I know we gotta go to the prairie, but I just don't remember where that is, like, immediately offhand. I'll figure it out as we kind of run around, of course. But I do know that we've got to find some rupees. Nice. I think, is the prairie this way? Also, I mentioned it in other episodes, but if you aren't aware, I have been sick for a little while, so if I sound kinda, like off today, it's because I have been dealing with that. As far as the doctor is concerned, it's just bronchitis. She's fairly sure. But if the medication she gave me doesn't help, then I'm to go back, and have like x-rays. That said, I can say that so far it has. Like, if you remember last time, like, if you saw episode 1, that was a completely different recording session from this one. Because I was coughing so badly then that I could, like, not breathe after just, like, the one episode. And today I'm doing alright. This is actually the same recording session as the previous. Granted, I think the last one was like an hour long. But I think like halfway through that I was already like regretting having even started. And today, you know, I sound terrible, I'm sure. But I'm not like, I shouldn't be recording at all, you know. I don't feel like I'm like dying, at least. I'm sure my voice sounds terrible, and so apologies for that. You know, as much as I would like to not, you know, have that issue, there's only so much I can do, you know. That said, once I am feeling better, I will be going back to 2 episodes a week. Or 2 episodes a day. As long as I have 2 episodes worth of stuff, anyway. Like, I'll do like a Patreon requested episode, followed by like a regular, one at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, and then one at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. But until I'm feeling better, enough that I can, like, record without, you know, feeling like I'm dying, and, like, I can do voices, like, I can't do Danganronpa right now because that requires voices. I can't really do Final Fantasy at the moment. I've been uploading those to my FF14. FF14 Serene. But all of those were already pre-recorded. So I'm trying to get more rupees, but don't seem to be getting much. So, alright, let's go this way. Because I just remembered where to go. That was the other thing, was I couldn't remember where to go, so I was just doing random stuff trying to figure out where to go. But now I remember. Gotta go this way. Because we've got to go to Canelet Castle. So this is a warp point. And that's another thing I like, another thing I like about the Link's Awakening remake. There are way more warp points. I almost said wipe points. I have no bombs. I did not buy any bombs. So there's that. Is this not the way to go? I do have to go to the castle, but maybe that's not this way? Or maybe I just need bombs. Oh yeah, it's down this way, I think. Now, I'm probably not gonna end up getting the level 2 sword. Because I have absolutely no idea where the mysterious seashells are in this game. Unfortunately. Whoa. So. Salutations! You wouldn't know by the look of me, but I used to live in the castle. My servants went berserk, and I was forced to flee to my villa. So, you want the key to Uku Prairie, do you? I may be able to help you. Let's make a deal, shall we? I want you to retrieve the golden leaf I left behind in the castle when I fled. I'm impressed. There are 5 leaves in all. Remember to buy a shovel on your way back. Yeah, so you do have to have the shovel. I think... Do I go this way at all? I don't remember. Yes. Pretty sure I'm going the right way. Sorry for the coughing. Such is the joy of, you know, not feeling good. So, and I probably just wouldn't, like, worry about uploading stuff, if it weren't for the fact that these are, these, you know, Shantae and this one are Patreon requested. I could have, like, waited, and been like, hey, I'll probably get it to you, like, you know, in, like, 2 weeks, or, like, end of the month, or something like that. And I'm pretty sure that that Charmander and Zerodime would have been okay with that. But they are paying, and the last thing I want is to not be able to give them what they are paying for. So, like I said, if you want to request a game, there should be a link down to my or down below in the video description to my Patreon. Goodness. Sorry about that. I was actually about to reach over to hit the pause button on that one because that felt like it was going to be a major thing. But, nope, it cleared itself right up afterwards. So, that's at least there's that. But again, I do apologize that I'm sick. Obviously, you know, I'm human. As much as I would love to not be human. Because, you know, that would be cool. I don't know, like, would it be cool, though? Because, like, oh, that, like, I'm not human, so, like, what am I, like, a robot, I guess? You know? Like, unfortunately, I'm not a robot, so I can't just, you know, pump out freaking, you know, episodes every, like, 2, you know, like, all day. Actually, I haven't even gotten on my personal games, like Princess Connect. Which, by the way, if you're looking for a fun mobile game, so far one of my favorites, this is not sponsored, by the way, but I wish it was sponsored, because then I'd actually have money. But one of my favorites right now that I'm playing is a game called Princess Connect Redive. I don't really understand why it's called Redive. I have read that it's like a remake of another mobile game that was called Princess Connect. And it's like, you know, same characters and stuff like that. I don't know how true that is. It could be not at all, but it could also be, you know, completely, right? But either way, like, it's been a fun, yeah, it's been a fun, mobile game. And I've actually, like, I don't generally enjoy mobile games. Like, I look at games like, you know, Dislight or Raid Shadow Legends or things like that. And beyond just the fact that I literally cannot play them on my phone, and that annoys me. I think all mobile games, you know, should get a PC port. Just because, A, it doesn't seem like it would be that hard. Like, there are a number of mobile games that do that already. Like Genshin Impact, where there's, you know, a mobile version of the game, you know. Hey, Mon! Ow. I still get hurt by touching you, apparently. I'm just looking for seashells at the moment, by the way. That's why I'm, like, not working towards going to Canalet Castle. 'Cause I'm trying to look for seashells, mostly. But, like, aside from, like I said, just the fact that I legitimately cannot play most of those games. Because, like, you need a 64-bit phone. And literally, I went to my service provider. And I asked them, like, you know, what do you have in the way of 64-bit phones? And my service provider, the people there at my service provider looked at me and went, we don't even know what that means. So, I don't think we have any. So, literally, I can't get a 64-bit Android phone from my service provider. And you might say, like, well, you know, you could look at a different provider. And I'm sure there probably are better ones out there. Don't get me wrong. But the one I have is really good, actually. And Um, you know, pretty cheap. Also, like, a big factor in whether or not I can even use, you know, a service provider is whether or not my family is using it, basically. Because they're the ones that have to pay for that. And so, here we go, Candlelit Castle. Hi, Link. You know I love to take pictures. Wouldn't this old castle make a great photo? Nothing yet? I grow tired of waiting. I want those golden leaves delivered soon. Courage like this deserves a photo, don't you think? Go ahead and take a picture of me. Any angle you like. I'm not afraid. I just decided to wait at home. Sure. Before I go anywhere, I should make a quick trip down to the seashell hut. Because I believe that the first item is at 5 seashells. And unlike the remake, it'll only factor like giving you a reward for a certain amount of shells when you're at that number. If you're above that number, you won't get a reward. So, hey, another secret seashell. Now we have 6. Guardian Acorn. Yeah, I think this will be the episode that we don't complete a dungeon in. Yeah, episode 3, and we won't complete our 3rd dungeon because we're already 20 minutes in. Almost, anyway. So. Banana, ooh, gift her, Kiki. Banana, ooh, Kiki. Monkeys, come me pay him, Kiki. Monkey business done. Bye-bye. Ooh, Kiki. You found a stick. A monkey left behind. You take it. Sorry again. Unfortunately, I can't, like, pause or mute. Because the costs kind of come in pretty suddenly. Like, I've only got about 2 seconds from when I start, like, feeling the cough to when it comes out. And I don't have one of those fancy, like, soundboard things where you can just, like, hit a button and it mutes. So, it would be nice. But unfortunately, I do not. Technically, like, I do use voice mod. I use a program called Voice Mod. And it does have that ability. The issue is that I haven't been able to find, like, a keybind for it that isn't currently something I use somewhere else on my PC. So, press start to see how many you've collected. Yay! We got a gold leaf. So that's 1. There are 4 more in here. Another nice thing, I think I actually forgot to finish saying it, because I started saying, like, one of the things I'm like excited for if Ocarina or Oracle series remakes do happen, is seeing the animal companions in 3D. It'll be nice to be able to see, let's see, what are they? Dimitri, I think? Dimitri, Ricky, and Moosh. It'll be nice getting to see all of them in 3D. And again, I think that the diorama style that they did for the Link's Awakening remake was fine. I didn't have an issue with it like a lot of people did. So I think that if they do Oracle remakes, that's like a perfectly valid way of doing it, you know? Is the diorama style. Because it kind of like, it still gives you the feel of like, you know, the Game Boy to a degree. Just not on the Game Boy. So, I thought it was cool. I enjoyed it. I had I had very few issues with the diorama style. And I don't know. Like, you'd have to watch my playthrough, but I enjoyed it. I didn't really have any issues with it, so so if they do Oracle remakes, doing it, you know, Link's Awakening style would be great. So, I know that everybody and their mom is like, Breath of the Wild 2! And all. And I get that. You know, everybody's excited for Breath of the Wild 2. But I'm not excited for it. Like, I am, don't get me wrong. I'm very excited for Breath of the Wild 2 to come out eventually. But I'm not like, you know, I'm not one of those people that I've been seeing that's like, oh my god, Breath of the Wild 2, gotta make... Like, there's this one YouTuber that I watch that, like, as soon as the Breath of the Wild 2, like, the latest, like, news for Breath of the Wild 2 came out, that was, like, 2 pictures, he made, like, 15 videos on it. I'm like, okay, there's hype, don't get me wrong, and then there's that. That's a little, you know, that's a little much. So, I don't remember if I need bombs for this, or... Yeah, I do. Okay, I missed to grab bombs, so now I have to run all the way back to town to get them. Unfortunately, bombs will not drop until you buy them, and I didn't think to buy bombs. So... Frick. But that's okay, because we hit the switch. So now we can literally just walk right out of the castle. And head right over to the village. Yay, piece of power. Pieces of power are great. I'm trying to find something here before I do that. I don't know if I can, but I'm trying to find something. May not be able to find what I'm looking for, though, which is fine. yeah, this is what I was trying to find, was this, like, area. But I think that's... I don't think I can access that yet. Unfortunately. That's alright. 980 rupees for a bow. Thanks a lot. Come again. Alright. Now bombs will start dropping on the overworld. Now that we have an inventory of bombs. Now that we've essentially obtained a bomb bag. You know. The bomb bag actually hadn't been invented until Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, though. Interestingly enough. So, like, that was the first time that the bomb bag had been in a Zelda game. So, it was kind of neat. And that's about all I can say about that, because I have no other trivia to give you. Actually, maybe I can reach that. Is that... I mean, I know that this is also the way to the dungeon, and I could have just waited there. Ah, yep. There it is. There's a mysterious seashell right here. Literally right there. I wanted to make sure that I wanted to make sure that I grabbed it. That was all. Now I cannot grab the seashell that's up there until I get flippers. And that's, I think, is it the 4th dungeon or the 5th dungeon? I don't remember which. It's one of the two. But now I have bombs. So I can blow up those reliefs in the castle. And they'll turn into dudes. And then one of them will have the feather. Ah. Hi. But yeah, there's a lot that I'm eager to see from Oracle series. That if they do a remake, like, I'll be excited because I can see them in 3D and stuff. Now let's talk to Richard about the key. Alright. Sorry, I'm trying to think of, like, things to say. You know, as I'm, like, going along here. I just haven't an idea what to say, unfortunately. Head empty, as they say. That's gone. That's gone. Ah, très bien. I see you have recovered all of the leaves. Now, move this box, and you'll find your reward. Found a secret seashell. We have 8. I think the next reward is at 10, but I don't remember for sure. So, there's that. But yeah, I mean, I'm just excited for anything that the Zelda team does, really. Like, it doesn't matter to me what they, you know, what game comes out next. So, I know a lot of people are gonna be like, but Breath of the Wild 2. You're not excited for Breath of the Wild 2? And yes, I am. I'm very much excited for Breath of the Wild 2. But also, like, I'm just not as excited as everybody else is all, you know? There absolutely is excitement, just not as much as everybody else is, like, excited for it. Mostly because, you know, I don't have the ability to buy it. But also, I have the slime key. You can open the gate in Ukuku Prairie. Partially because, again, like I said, don't exactly have the money to buy it. Because even if I had the money to buy it, I'd still have to buy, like, a whole new Switch to play it on. The choice of my Switch being, you know, broketed. But also, it's just, like, I've always been, like, excited for the new Zelda, you know? It's just, I don't, like, freak out when there's no new news, right? Like, I know that that's one thing that some fans have done, and I really hate that. Like, you know, they announce, like, oh, you know, Nintendo does some kind of a Nintendo Direct. But they don't mention Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2, like, at all. And then the fans are like, oh my god, how could you not say anything about Zelda? And it's like, because it's not, like, done enough yet. The fact of the matter is they thought they were at a certain extent of development. Then something happened, and they realized they weren't anymore. Probably new ideas. But, like, seriously, people just need to, like, chill. You know? Like, Breath of the Wild 2 will be done when Breath of the Wild 2 is done. You know? And if it's done any earlier, it will be worse than if it's done, you know, at the proper time. So, I mean, look, people, Undertale took like 7 years to make. You know? Like, think about how much, and I'm not saying this particularly to anybody watching the video. If you feel called out when I say this, then you might want to just, you know, rethink some stuff in your life. But I'm not particularly aiming at you, you know. But, like, look at Undertale. Look at how good Undertale is. And, like, imagine if Toby Fox had been, like, you know, it had not put as much work into it as he did, right? If he hadn't, you know, if it hadn't taken him as long as he did, the game would not be anywhere near as good, you know? What's the famous statement? A delayed game is eventually good, but a bad game is bad forever. Admittedly, with DLC now, that's not necessarily the case, but it's true more often than it is not, right? It depends a lot on the work ethic of the developers, honestly. That and money. Like, a broken game is going to be bad. And it will more than likely stay bad if there is not enough, like, money from it, you know, big enough fan base, etc., to, like, remake it. You know, Final Fantasy XIV wouldn't be what it is today if they hadn't remade it. But the people making Final Fantasy XIV could remake it because Final Fantasy is as big as it is. You know? Simply because it was Final Fantasy, they were able to remake it. And that wouldn't be the case if it weren't Final Fantasy, you know? And so that's something to really consider, is the, you know, the development, the money, etc., the fan base, all of that determines a lot about whether a game is going to be able to come back from anything, you know? No Man's Sky may have been able to become this, you know, pretty good game, in my opinion, that it is today, but it wouldn't be like that if there hadn't been enough people willing to give them a chance, to let them redevelop, you know? Also, that famous quote is said back at it from a time when DLC, updates, etc. were not available. And so it was literally impossible for a game that was bad to change. But nowadays that still can be the case. You know? Fun fact, this dungeon actually gives you one key too many. Because they expect... They wanted to make sure that you have enough keys, no matter which way you go about the dungeon. So... And there's a death. Alright. I'm going to save here. And in the next episode, we will come back to continue this dungeon. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, feel free to subscribe. Check the video description down below for a link to the playlist. That way, you can get caught up on any episodes you might have missed. Once again, this was requested by my patron Charmander. If you would like to request a game, feel free to check the video description down below for a link to my Patreon. And with that, I'll see you all next time. See you later.